Hello, good morning, everyone. It's our turn today. I'll be hosting today's Wellness Weekends of Centro Holistico. I'm Dr. Venice, and I'm here with Kathi Rañeses. She's our in-house wellness coach, life coach, health coach. She'll explain a little bit later what she does in full. But today we're going to be talking about mental health. Why is it important, and what are the things that we can do to improve on our mental health. So,
Mm.
hi, Kathy. Good morning.
Hi, Ben. It feels so weird to be on the other side of this. Like,
Same. Same. So I'll do my best. You've done such a great job with all of us asking us questions. So I'll try to be as good with my questions with you. All right.
yeah,
So maybe you can start off first by telling us, okay, what specifically do you do as our in-house life coach,
mhm,
wellness coach, etc.?
yeah. So, it really feels so weird being on the other end. So, as a coach, my job is really to journey with the clients and kind of help them be accountable to
Right.
whatever it is that they say that they want to work on, improve on. So I'm there during their journey, help them unpack whatever it is that they're going through. Help them come to those aha moments of like, ano, bakit ko nga ba ito ginagawa? In order for them to live a better quality, flourishing life. I also partner a lot with the doctors. So, for example, if Doc Ven here has a patient who, let's say, is working on their health goals and they need to lose weight, and let's say they are struggling with that, then I can come in and just ask those questions, no, of where is the struggle? Why do you feel that, let's say, that you can't stop emotional eating? What is it, etc., etc.? And through the course of the coaching process, the patient, it's really the patient that comes to their own like big aha moments and
Mm,
understanding of themselves, and with that education, that awareness, comes the empowerment of, okay, sige, so the next time I grab the bag of chips, alam mo yun, alam
mhm.
ko na it's my choice,
Right.
like aware na ako kung bakit ko to ginagawa, so I can stop,
Mhm.
and say that, okay, I told myself that I'm committing to taking junk food out of my
Mhm.
diet, because
Mhm.
Dr. Ben already explained why this is so bad for me, and Coach Kathy, we already talked through this, that this is connected to when I was a kid. This was my this was my parang my prize for a job well done, and I'm looking for those feelings so I can choose to, stay the same, or I can choose a different path. And when you
Yeah.
choose that different path, when you choose your wellness, both your doctor and your coach celebrates with you.
Right.
So, diba? So yeah, so that's kind of a little bit of what I do.
Oh, yeah, no, that's actually, parang most of the time kasi it's interesting. It's like, from what I'm hearing, it's like
Mm.
you're a facilitator of insight. You facilitate insight or for patients to, or for your clients to, have that realization within them without, necessarily directly leading them, right? Because
Yeah.
I guess that's where change happens. It has
Mm.
really to come from inside. But sometimes
Yeah.
you just need that, parang outsider's perspective or a
Yeah.
non-biased perspective who's just gonna
Mm.
see, really like what are your habits that you're doing on a daily
Yeah.
basis, right? What are the choices?
Yeah.
All
And
right,
I think
awesome.
I think with, sorry,
No,
just to cut
go
that off.
ahead.
I think as well, then there is this huge misconception about coaching that we'll be telling people what to do. Um,
Mm.
but
Mm-hmm.
like most of the conversation, like 90%, it's really the client talking, and all I
Right.
really do is just hold space and just
Yeah.
ask those tough questions, those
Mm.
questions that you don't want to hear, but you
Right.
kind of need to face, and just hold space for you and allow you to kind of unpack whatever's going on there. So
Right.
like when it comes to expertise, you have your doctors for that. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to you, our belief as coaches is the best person that knows what's best for you is
Mm-hmm.
you.
Exactly.
And so yeah, so that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, no, it's yun nga, parang I like what you said a while ago about how you're journeying with the patient, right? Because
Mm,
at the end of the day, even though you ask them so many questions, give them so many recommendations, etc., it's really up to them to implement everything or like
yeah.
to really make those tangible changes for them to
Mm,
move forward with their health or what they want to change in their lives. So
mm,
yeah, jumping off of that, like, it's a lot of, again, like what we said kanina, habit changes,
mm,
you're realizing what your beliefs are. I just wanted to, I know, also parang ask lang, how does that tie in with, mental health? Mental health has been something that's been talked about, especially during this, pandemic, right? It's
mm.
something that we need to care for. But exactly, like, for you, what is mental health for you? How would you, for a person who's coming in, for the first time with you and say asking these questions, or parang how do I take care of my mental health, like what really is it, parang it's
Yeah.
something kasi for Filipinos it's kind of like a not something that I know we talk about a lot, but
Mm,
it's very important. So like what's your
yeah.
yeah.
You know, I think one of the wonderful things of kind of being stuck in a pandemic. Well, I don't know if there's a wonderful thing that I like. One of the bright of being stuck in this pandemic is like before 2020, people were scoffing at people who wanted to talk about mental
Mm,
health. Diba?
right.
Parang there was this, I won't name him anymore, but there was this one actor slash host who kind of said that, oh, mental health, sakit pang mayaman lang yan. And
Mm,
it was so dismissed because it's not
mm,
something that we like to talk about in our
yeah,
society. um Pero now that the pandemic has affected everyone and we're still in it up
yeah.
until today, um, people have become a lot more sensitive to
Mm,
what's going on and what's happening
yeah.
to their mental health, and they're more mindful about their overall well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what mental health is. Mental health really includes our emotional, psychological, and our social well-being. It really affects how we think, how we feel, how we act. Our mental health also determines how we handle stress,
Mm,
how we relate to others, and how we make choices,
mm,
even. So, really,
yeah,
mental health is really just so important at every stage in our life,
yeah,
really, from childhood to adolescence through
yeah.
adulthood. I guess it's just not something that we have given that much time towards, I think,
Mm.
up until these past 2 years.
Right, right. No, I guess right now it's more being talked about because
Mm,
we're still in lockdown. The world was under lockdown for such a long time that
yeah.
we couldn't um we couldn't do much of the distracting ways or distracting mga
Yeah.
habits before,
Uh-uh.
right? We couldn't. I don't know for some people or for other people, it's going out, of course, not
Yeah.
yeah, that's how they relieve stress, diba? Or just like parang covering the real issue underneath by
Mm,
yeah, drinking or going out or like
yeah.
whatever. But now
For
we are
sure.
really faced. Yeah.
Yeah, no, even healthy coping, right? Like going out of town on the weekends, or
Mm,
like discovering something new. Like we've all been stuck in our own little bubbles for
yeah.
around what, 2 years now, diba? Like a year
Yeah.
and a lot more. And
Yeah.
for me, like what's affecting like my mental health is seeing like our other countries are finally
Yeah.
opening up na. Like
Mm,
Denmark
mm,
na daw is back to normal. Most of Europe, like they're
yeah.
operating business as usual. Dot
Right.
Candy is in New York and she's walking around,
Right.
like she's walking
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
exploring the city, not
Yeah.
having to worry about all these things that we're worrying about, and we're still
Mm-hmm.
stuck on face shields.
Exact exactly,
Nakakaloka.
nakakaloka talaga. That's like a whole other segment. But it's
Oo.
true. Yeah, just having that ano, I guess yun nga that parang our freedom was
Mhm.
affected, right? And
Yeah.
for any one person naman, if their freedom is affected, if their movement is affected, that really takes a toll on you as a person as well. Kasi nga parang
Mm.
we're social people, we like to see things, we like to see, new people, meet new people,
Yeah.
etc. But that was something that
Or yeah.
has been very limited
Mm-mm.
to us. So
Yeah.
yeah, just speaking about that also, like for you, Kathy, personally, do you have your own, I know like lockdown, everyone has been going through something internally, but
Mm.
for you, what has been your mental health story, or like um what was your story behind, becoming a life coach, a wellness
Yeah.
coach? Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I have a very interesting story about that. And yeah, the reason why I really went into life coaching, and the reason why I put up coaching happiness is because, kind of growing up, my story was a total opposite of coaching
Mm,
happiness. I was born and raised in Dubai, had a pretty good life
mm,
there.
mm,
Came here for high school, etc. And at that time, naghiwalay yung parents ko.
mm,
And my mom would kind of take out her feelings, her anger, her
mm,
disappointment, whatever, on me.
mm,
And I was basically her, physical, emotional punching bag.
mm,
I started as a really kind of happy, bright child. And
right.
I slowly turned into this very depressed, very depressed teenager, very depressed individual.
Mm,
Um, and I didn't realize what was happening to me. And I think one of the most parang memorable, or like for me, like how I didn't realize that this was a coping mechanism, but I had this talent of like I could sleep for like 24 hours straight.
mm,
I
mm,
could sleep the entire day away. And like for me, that was kind of like, oh, that's just, it's normal. I didn't realize that this was me trying to cope
mm,
with my depression, with what was happening in my life. That in my head, if I could sleep an entire day, that was one less day for me to deal with
mm,
what was happening,
yeah,
at home.
yeah.
And I went through that spiral. I tried to commit suicide at one point. I was like
Mm,
14, 15.
mm,
um I tried to down, like, I think, like isang like pakete ng like paracetamol pills,
mm,
because I wanted
mhm,
out of here already, and I had
right.
no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And when I was 18, I met this life coach, and I went through a program with him, and he was the
Mm,
one that kind of made me realize how much control I had over my own life. Because at
mm,
that point, I was just kind of like, wala na, like, this is my life. Like, forever na akong ganito. Like, it's not going to
right,
get better.
right.
Like, the future, like, looks so bleak for me. Like, what else? What else am I going to do? And it was actually a life coach that saved my life. He was the one that was like, you are 100% in control of your life. He made me realize that I had
Mm,
to make some tough choices for
yeah.
myself.
Mm,
And he really put me on that path.
mm,
Um, so eventually, I saw a therapist, saved enough money to do that. It was so taboo back then.
mm,
And eventually I realized that I was clinically depressed.
yeah.
I did try medication for a little while, but I didn't like it so much. And I preferred to do the holistic route. I was like,
Mm,
there has to be something better. Like, I know I'm spiraling, but
yeah.
there has to be something more, at least for me, that I could do to kind of help lift me out of this negative vortex that I was in.
Right.
And that led me to discover positive psychology.
Mm,
like I really kind of threw myself into that, in understanding how my brain works, understanding resilience. What does
Yeah.
grit mean? How can I naturally, how can I naturally activate these happy hormones?
Yeah.
And how could I retrain my brain to go from all this negative self-talk to be affirming and,
Mhm.
my own personal cheerleader.
Yeah.
And when I figured that out, I realized, holy crap, like I'm not the only one. Like there are other people
Yeah.
who are going through the same thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was then when I kind of realized that, what, like this one life coach had such a powerful impact in my life, and he really changed me for the better. I
Mm.
want to do the same, to be able to kind of give back, to
Right.
kind of like continue on his legacy, and at the
Mm.
same time kind of be able to affect change in other people who I know are going through the same thing.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first time I know. I guess I'm hearing that story of yours. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for your vulnerability as well, because it's. I know it's been you've gone through that. You got
Yeah.
over it already, but of course you're able to talk about it more now. I know.
Yeah.
In a parang more grounded way, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think yeah, the reason why I can be so candid about talking about
Mm-hmm.
all of this is because I know that I've done the work, and I know that
Yeah.
I've come out of it the other end. Pero
Yeah.
but don't get me wrong. I mean, like for the longest time,
Yeah.
I was really, really angry.
Right.
And I didn't know how to process that anger as
Mm.
well.
Yeah.
And like for me, the way my brain works is I need to learn about something. I need to learn what are the basics. Why is this happening
Mm.
to me? In
Yeah.
order for me to help manage it. So
Mm.
that got me started as well on my journey through emotional intelligence and emotional
Mm.
literacy,
Yeah.
and realizing how this is a huge part of like our mental health as well. Lalo na
Yeah.
tayo mga Pinoy, because we don't really talk about our emotions. There's that stigma.
Mm.
'Di
Yeah.
ba? There's that
Yep.
stigma na dapat parati kang masaya. 'Di ba? Kung
Yeah.
hindi ka masaya, wala kang utang na loob sa nagpalaki sa'yo, sa
Yep.
ganyan, like,
Oh
like
my goodness.
parang you have no reason dapat to be sad or
Yeah.
frustrated or
Right.
angry. And
Mhm.
I didn't know how to process that, because
Yeah.
yun yung culture natin eh.
Yep.
So it really took me a while, and it really was a journey. So
Yeah.
my kind of thing is, you know what? Like I was in that deep dark place, but
Yeah.
because of the tools that I was able to discover, I was able to kind of get myself out of it.
Yeah.
And if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah. So I guess that's like one of the key takeaways from that is, you've gone through something something
Mm,
really, really tough, something very
yeah.
difficult. But, I believe that we all really have this, that there's, even though you are in that space, there is something still inside of you that can, that wants to change or wants to get you
Mm,
out of that, that black hole sometimes, and yun nga, parang it's really looking for the right tools. It's funny. It's like I wish it was something overnight, but like what you said, yeah, it's a journey still. I'm
yeah.
sure
It took
even
years.
now, yeah, I'm sure even now as a life coach, you're still there's still some processing going on also because
Mm,
we face different things naman every year or every day, right? And
yeah.
some things come up then. So parang even though you guys see us here on wellness weekends, it doesn't mean that we're immune to the stressors of life or the
Yeah.
parang negative things that happens in life. But
Mm,
yun nga, it's learning about how you can change and finding the right people. Maybe that works for you if like you need extra support. Because for me before, like I also had my own difficult period, no,
mm,
but yeah, it's reaching out really to people. Sometimes it could be your friend who could lead you to I don't know, parang another therapist or a life coach
yeah.
or
Mm,
intuitive counselor, which is what I've been doing also for the last few years. Yeah, but from what I'm hearing also with Kathy, it's like you really have to do the work.
yeah. But I
Yeah,
think like even before that, really, there needs to be a level of awareness where you
yeah,
know that, you know what, something's not right.
yeah,
Right? Like
yep,
why am I not thriving in my life, and who's getting in the way? because
Mm.
100% of the time it's you.
Yeah. Yup.
Yun lang yun.
Yup.
we,
Yup.
we are the people that get in our own way.
Yeah. No, it's true talaga. I don't know. Maybe you could elaborate more on that because now I do get it, right? Because
Mm,
it's something that I've parang come to realize also through this practice is parang you get in your way. But that how does that look like for you or for like your clients
mm,
or the people that you've come
mm.
into interaction? Just so for people to know like what does
Yeah.
that mean? Like parang what do you mean na me? Is it really
Oo.
me?
Oo, 'di ba yung iba parang ayaw pang
Yeah.
aminin. In
Yup.
denial pa.
In
But
denial
yeah, no,
pa.
when I say that the person that gets in your way from living your best life ever is you, or
Mm,
like in my case it's me, it
yeah.
it really is because we hold on to a lot of things. We
Yeah.
hold on to limiting beliefs, let's say,
Yeah.
that don't really serve us, na tinuro sa atin nung bata tayo,
Mm,
na hanggang ngayon bit 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 pa din natin, even though like we are already fully functioning adults.
right. Mhm.
It can come in the form of pride, our
Yeah.
ego. We have this huge need to be right, or we have this huge need to look good, that we aren't going to admit to
Mhm.
anyone or even to ourselves that there's
Yeah.
something that
Yeah.
we need to work on. A lot
Mhm.
of us love staying in our victim mentality,
Oh,
where,
yes.
right, everything going wrong in my life isn't because of me, it's because of
Yep.
this person, and because of this experience I had, and because
Mm.
minalas kasi ako, this is what
Yep.
happened to me.
Mhm.
um so like, once you kind of realize that you are the one that's been giving yourself all of these reasons in order for you not to flourish, in order for
Mhm.
you, not to get out of your comfort zone, because half the
Mhm.
time we don't want to get out of our comfort zone. We want to
Nope.
stay the same, but experience like this big, beautiful life for ourselves.
Mm.
um and then we kind of wonder why we've been doing the same thing for, like, for decades now. Why hasn't my life improved? And you
Mm.
can, like, well,
Yep.
right. And it's really that. And when it comes to mental health, like, a lot of us kind of set ourselves up to fail
Yeah.
by, entertaining these negative narratives that we have in
Mhm.
our head.
Yeah.
I have clients that I would tease, and like I would call them Nega Stars, kasi sa sampung kinuwento kong maganda about, like, the greatness that I see in them, they
Mhm.
could find 11 things that hindi
Right.
naman totoo yan,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
etc. And in terms of mental health, that takes a big toll.
Of course.
Or allowing other people's opinions of you, and
Mhm.
like taking that
Hmm.
as Bible truth.
Yeah.
No, kasi sabi ng nanay ko ganito daw ako, kaya
Mhm.
ito, I'm showing up as this because I believed it.
Right.
So really, from a coaching point of view, it's just giving the client that awareness of,
Mhm.
like, oh, who taught you that?
Yeah.
So sa'yo ba galing yan? Like, who taught you that? Um, I have this one client at Centro, and she was like struggling with her elimination diet.
Mhm.
And I was kind of like, okay, so, like, what are you struggling with? What are
Yeah.
you, I know? And her biggest fear was, well, like, I already talked to my doctor and I have this all planned out already, and I'm just really really afraid that I still might end up eating something that I shouldn't, on
Mhm.
by accident, etc. And she
Yeah.
was freaking out about eating something by accident, and I'm like, well,
Yeah.
have you started your diet? She's like, no, not yet. Have you bought, like, your food and whatever? She's like, yeah, I did the man. So I'm like, okay, so that's good. It sounds like you're setting yourself up not to start. So
Mhm.
why do you feel that, you're gonna eat something that you shouldn't by accident? And she was catastrophizing already. Oh no, like, what if, like, may kasambahay cook something and something's not supposed to be there,
Mm.
and then, I'm halfway through my diet already, and blah 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 blah. And she was literally, like, freaking out. So I asked her, I was like, when when was the first time in your life na you kind of felt that, like itong pagpapanik mo na ganyan?
Mm,
And then she kind of quieted down, and she was like, actually, she was like, nung grade 4 ako. Isipin mo, I think this woman was
mm,
in her 40s. And then she
right.
goes, nung grade 4 ako, like I was always very fast. Like I liked finishing my schoolwork very fast.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I remember my teacher told me, slow down.
Mm,
Napaka-careless mo.
mm,
And that
wow.
one little thing that her teacher said, na napaka-careless mo,
Yeah.
stuck with her, and she
Mm,
believed it. And up until her 40s, bit 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 bit
mm,
niya yun. So she
wow.
would tell me, actually kahit sa work like I'm so hard on myself because
Yeah.
I would submit reports and then I would get it back na maraming corrections ng boss ko. And I would feel so bad kasi the voice in my head would be nga my teacher telling me na, yan, careless ka kasi.
Mm, yeah.
And so, imagine mo if you had, and that was just one little line. So imagine
Right.
all the stories, the
Yes.
opinions of other people that we
Yeah.
carry in our
Yeah.
heads that
Yeah.
actually affect how we show up for ourselves,
Yeah.
affects our mental health that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just so interesting to see, the people who have basically kind of made us,
Right.
and how we think and operate.
No, I agree. We do have a lot of narratives
Mm,
on our backs, a lot of stories, a lot of beliefs. Na sometimes it gets muddled talaga. Parang who's really, where is this really coming from? I guess actually that's a very simple question. It's a very simple
mm,
question. Parang where is this coming from? Who told me this,
mm,
right?
mhm.
But it's something kasi na parang at the beginning of or parang it's not something that we ask ourselves kasi nga it's something na yun nga, parang it's how we've been operating for such a long time. And if we don't
Yeah.
have that, other perspective or that other person just asking these types of questions, we won't be
Mm,
able to maneuver
mm,
around it, right? Kasi
yeah.
yun nga, what you were saying also through your story, Kathy, is that um, we do have some control over our lives. We do have a lot of control over our lives. And this is not control na parang parang yung control na you're
Yeah. Na dapat
grasping on
ganito by
things.
this age. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, parang it's lessening, it's opening your palms and lessening
Yeah.
parang loosening your grip on things and
Mm,
allowing for, new things and new habits
yeah.
to be installed in your system. Kasi nga, we're
Yeah.
all capable of change no matter how old or young you are, as long as parang you feel that already something is off or like
Yeah.
something isn't working in your life anymore because we do deserve, we are worthy of living beautiful lives, right? Living,
The
fun,
life that we want.
adventure, the
Yeah.
life that we want, exactly. Pero yun nga, something that I came across this week was ano nothing happens until something moves, and that
Mm,
something is you most of the time.
exactly.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, thank you for sharing those stories. Kasi yun nga, I think by hearing your experiences for sure, and other people's experiences, people can start to, parang realize na it's not just them, and we're not alone in
Yeah.
feeling all of these things. Especially now, it's been a
Mm.
collective feeling of blah. Is that
Yeah,
fair
no,
to say?
we are definitely going through a collective trauma. I
Yeah,
mean, it's this sustained level of stress that's been
yeah,
happening for the
yeah,
past
yeah.
2 years. I'm actually curious, like, kayo, in your practice, do you see a lot of patients who have been struggling more with their mental health?
Yeah, no, for sure. A lot of them have been worried, yun nga parang what is the future gonna look like? And I think it's something that we all are wondering kasi we're still, even though there are vaccines already, even though there's so
Mm,
much research about COVID, we're still really unsure. And the thing is with life, and this is also something that, you know, a lot of people have taught me, na rin Kathy also, because I sat down with her one time, is that nothing in life is certain, but you just have to really take it one day at a time, be present in yourself,
Mm,
parang find ways to ground yourself, because what we tend to do is to overthink, right?
mm,
We tend to future ano ba yun? Parang future predict, or like, but we really
mm.
can't predict, diba? We're either always in the future or always in the past, never in the present, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I
Exactly.
think a lot of people, at least from what I'm getting with my clients, like I
Mm,
do notice that a lot of people have been struggling with anxiety, right? Like fear
mm,
of the future and what's
yep,
happening and catastrophizing the possible future. And I think it
yep,
really is not because this pandemic has just unsettled everybody.
yep.
I was also sharing with another friend that I realized, like for me, like right now, um a lot of the anxiety that I've been struggling with, that I've been
Mm-hmm.
getting, is a lot of social anxiety na parang
Mm.
nakalimutan ko na kung paano makitao, parang
Yeah.
gano'n. Alam mo yun, I've been stuck indoors for so
Yeah.
long. Like,
Yeah.
I've been stuck lang with my dogs, and it's
Yeah.
just me and them and like a couple of other people.
Yeah.
I get anxiety when I have to go out and meet new people.
I
Alam
get
mo yun,
that.
in my head, I'm like did I talk too much? Was I too
Right.
loud? Was I
Yeah.
oversharing? Like what is
Yeah.
happening? Like I don't know now where the line is, because
Yeah.
I've just been isolated for
Yeah.
so long. And at the end of the conversation, I'm like, okay, so like, was that okay? Like, did I offend them? Like, what's happening? You know? And and then I'm like, oh my God, like, are we friends? Like, should I add them on face? Like, what comes next?
Right.
Like,
Right. Right.
ganun na ako.
Yeah. No, I mean, thank you for sharing that. Kasi yun nga, you're the life coach, or, helping people with their health, but it helps to see na parang, oh, yun nga, for us also, there's still some challenges for us, especially yun nga, with all of these new things that we are experiencing,
Yeah.
or have to, open up ourselves also again. Eventually naman, we have
Mhm.
to,
Yeah.
go out there and see people also. But yeah, just jumping off from that, Kathy, like, of course, social anxiety, like the feelings of, restlessness, anxiety, those
Mhm.
are some signs of na parang, okay, maybe there's something that I need to adjust in my life.
Mm.
But like for you, parang what are the other signs that you may be having issues with mental health, so that other people can ano lang parang start to think about their state in a day,
Mm.
on a daily basis.
Yeah. Well, it really it, it really depends on like how mindful you are of like
Mm,
what you're doing,
yeah,
etc., how you're feeling. And it shows up different for everybody, but how I like to say now, you might be struggling, is if you notice that first and foremost that you aren't thriving in life,
right,
you don't
right,
have the tools to you feel like you don't have the tools in order to take control and kind of live a flourishing life.
yeah,
It could show up maybe as eating or sleeping too
mm,
much or
yeah,
too little. So like
yeah,
my coping mechanism was really sleep. I was
yeah,
like, wala akong bisyo eh. Like I don't smoke, I don't drink, I
mm,
don't tulog lang talaga.
mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
um, so that was my thing. Some people, they get insomnia, right?
yeah,
If you notice that you're pulling away from people that you would usually hang out with, and
mm,
activities that you usually go to. So I noticed a lot of people, they used to be like huge gym rats, right? They always love being in
mm,
the gym, they always love
yeah,
to work out, etc. And then all of a sudden, like, you don't want to go to the gym anymore because you don't want
yeah,
to see people, you don't want to talk to people. Having
yeah,
low or no energy as well is another one. If you always feel fatigued, and
yeah,
before naman like hindi ka ganon, then it might be a mental health issue na. If you
right,
feel numb, like nothing really matters to you, like you don't care
mm,
about anything anymore, the stuff that you
yeah,
used to be so passionate about, you don't really feel for anymore.
yeah,
There's also the feelings of helplessness and hopelessness.
yeah,
For
yeah,
other people naman, they will cope with smoking, drinking,
mm,
um, substance abuse as a
yeah,
form of escape from whatever mental health issues it is they're going through.
Right.
A lot then get like brain fog, like you
Mm.
feel and you like hindi ano sayo, like you're not the type to be confused or
Mm-hmm.
forgetful, or you
Yeah.
find yourself na grabe yung mood swings mo na
Yeah.
hindi mo alam kung bakit.
Yeah.
That might be another thing.
Yeah.
I think self harm is also a huge
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Like once you kind of notice that you're having these thoughts
Yeah.
about self harming, for me, that's a huge red flag.
Yeah.
And I really suggest that you guys go see a therapist.
Yeah.
Like hindi na yan pang functional medicine practitioner or life
Yeah.
coach. If you
Yeah.
really feel that there are things that are happening in your life that are impeding your quality of life,
Yeah.
then definitely we suggest, please go see a therapist
Yeah.
and
For sure.
get diagnosed, try and
Yeah.
see like how what it is that you need. And if
Mm-hmm.
you need support on your healing, on your health journey, to get to a more positive
Mm-hmm.
mental health, then that's where me as a coach, that's where I come in. That's where Doc Ven would come in as well.
Yeah.
So Doc, I know that a lot of what I mentioned also are things that you guys look out for
Yeah.
when you do your holistic medical consults.
Mm-hmm.
So, like when for you, like when do you think na looking through your patient, when do you think na okay, sige, I think I need to recommend this person to therapy because this looks like
Mm.
it's a deeper problem. It's not just
Yeah.
because of kulang ng energy or kulang ng ano, like it
Yeah.
seems to be that they might really need intervention.
Right. So a lot of our patients, of course, come to Centro to start their healing journey. And part of our job in parang assessing what they need. Kasi nga, syempre, yun yung trabaho namin, di ba? Parang, so we can guide
Mm-mm.
them appropriately. A lot also, some of them just want to optimize their health, but have some struggle parang making lasting choices. Parang I get patients who are doing a lot of things right, but they can't seem to get the results that they want, right? And then when you start kasi we also consider the mental, spiritual, and emotional beliefs of people. That's something that we
Yeah.
tend to ask then kasi it's important so that's
Yeah.
it's really part of you. It's not just the physical na symptoms that you're feeling, how you're the brain fog, your
Mm.
irritability during the day, right? Your lack of concentration, focus, the lack of parang being mindful about
Mm.
your habits and what you do. That's
Yeah.
when when I catch that, that's when I introduce either counseling
Mm.
or maybe working with a life coach or life coach, wellness coach, ganyan. Kasi nga parang they can ask the deeper questions, right? Because we're
Mm.
already talking so much about okay, what is your body saying, right, in terms of symptoms, right?
Mm-mm.
But you're already doing the diet, etc. Pero bakit hindi ka maka-move forward? And that's when
Yeah.
you need really to go deeper into what your stories are, what
Mm-hmm.
beliefs are holding you back. Kasi yun nga, like what you said a while ago kanina, yun nga, sometimes, most of the time, it's just really you who's holding you back. Parang, is there something else that you might need to adjust or might need to change? Or maybe
Mm.
just your relationship to food, right? 'Di ba? So
Yeah.
a lot of our interventions really is food is medicine, food first. Make your
Yeah.
pantry as your pharmacy, right?
Mm.
Pero yun nga, you've done all the work, you've done your grocery shopping, pero yun nga, just because I remembered your patient kanina, parang what is your relationship to food? Like, how do you view food? Why is it good
Mm.
or bad for you, right? Why
Yeah.
do you believe that? Yeah, so those are the things that parang we get to ask also. And some of our patients say na, and I guess this is something they get asked a lot when they see doctors. Kasi when
Mm.
you ask them, okay, ano ba yung mga ano mo, parang ano yung mga hindrance, ano yung mga challenges mo, ganyan. They will open up
Yeah.
na, oh, I overthink. Oh, I'm an overthinker.
Mm.
Oh, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. I don't have time. And then I said, so what is your priority? Because we really
Yeah.
do have to, I know, give ourselves time and prioritize talaga our
Yeah.
mental health and well-being for us to move forward. Yun, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Nope,
mean,
for sure.
mhm, yeah. No, go ahead, go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, I was also gonna say na parang I think like what's wonderful and what I love about, at least for me, like I took my health journey at Centro as well,
Yeah.
and even up until today I still struggle with depression.
Mm,
I still, like I mentioned, I get bouts of anxiety. It used to be really bad
mm,
before. I would get like full blown panic attacks.
mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm,
like I would have to go to the hospital pa and like get a shot of, like, was it like B12 or something? Basta
mm,
ganon.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Naka-injection, and then takot ako sa injection. So I'd be like telling the
Right.
doctor, wait lang, let me think about it, you know? And here I am,
Oh,
I can't breathe. And I'm like, wait lang.
right, right, right.
The struggle was real. Um,
Mm,
but what I love about like taking this journey then with Centro is that, yeah, number one, you get to learn so much about your body and how your physical body is so interconnected to
yeah.
your mental and emotional bodies.
Yeah.
Na like I couldn't understand like what was
Mhm.
happening and why I kept going into this, and simply just changing my diet, like adding more
Mhm.
fruit and veg to
Yeah.
my diet, like would help
Yeah.
my mood tremendously.
Yeah.
Or pansin ko, like whenever I would eat sugar, I'd be moodier than usual.
Mm. Yeah.
Like stuff like that, and you only start to notice that once you really take the steps to
Yeah.
put in the work to really
Yeah.
mindfully want to clean your body. And then sa inyo ko rin
Yeah.
nalaman yung the kind of like the gut brain
Yeah.
connection, and
Yeah.
how our
Yeah.
gut can affects our mental health, which is like
Right.
nuts for me. Could you explain
Yeah.
that a little bit for the guys that are watching? Like, ano ba tong gut brain connection? Like, why is what we eat so connected to our mental health?
Sure. So a lot of diba, everything that goes inside our mouth is being processed by our gut, right? Its job is to
Mm,
break it down and absorb things for it to build new things. Okay. So what does what do your how does your brain function? How does your body function? It's through, among other things, it's through hormones and through neurotransmitters or the chemicals for the brain, right?
mm,
But first and foremost, before you're able to produce those, you need your amino acids, you need your fatty acids, and these are all coming from food. You need your
mm,
micronutrients as well. So if you're not able to give your body that, it's not gonna have enough raw materials to make serotonin, right? Which is the happy hormone. You
mm,
need amino acids for serotonin. You also need your serotonin to make melatonin, and that's another, I know, for sleep. For, if you get, adequate sleep, your mood is better, etc. And yeah, anything that's happening within the gut, it translates also as, something in your brain, like brain fog, for sure. If
mm.
there's an imbalance there of,
Yeah.
the beneficial and non-beneficial bacteria, the microbiome natin, it'll
Mm,
translate into, irritability, mood swings, or depressive moods also. So
yeah.
it really, that's the beauty of this whole parang perspective, is just that even though you're feeling something in one area, doesn't necessarily mean that the problem is just there. It could be stemming from elsewhere. And if you're also experiencing a lot of stress in your life, or parang you can't seem to manage stress properly, it also translates into the gut. Our
Mm,
bodies are, are smart, right? It's going to engage in fight or flight mode, right? And when you're in flight mode, you don't have time to process things. Your body doesn't have time to process things. So just imagine if you're on flight or flight mode
mm.
chronically, then you're stopping processes in your gut palang, among other things also. So
Yeah.
yeah, so yun. Yeah, for you, Kathy, what has been helpful for you in terms of, you know, parang moving yourself out of like a funk, yeah,
Mm.
or a
Couple
negative
of
space, yeah.
Yeah. Couple of things, and it's the journey talaga eh. Like for me,
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes I would get into a depressive funk, and I would stay
Yeah.
there for 3 days.
Mhm.
Sometimes it would be a week. Sometimes it would be months before I
Mhm.
could, like, I know that I'm fully out of it.
Yeah.
um but yeah, I do have a couple of tools that really kind of helps me to like get back faster.
Mhm.
Number one, I think, is really having a gratitude practice. um
Mm.
Having keeping that attitude of gratitude and looking for things to be grateful for me, I
Mhm.
find to be a fantastic practice. So
Right.
usually, at the end of the day, when I journal, I usually write down, like, what is the thing that I'm most grateful for
Mhm.
today.
Yeah.
But when I find that I am in a bit of a funk, that becomes times three. So I make
Mhm.
sure that when I wake up in the morning, before my feet hit the ground, I can think of three things to be grateful for the
Mm.
day.
Mhm.
Before I sit down to lunch, I think about, okay, so what happened in the morning that I'm grateful for.
Mhm.
Before I go to bed, I do the same thing. And
Mhm.
what that really does is it really trains my brain to automatically focus on the things that are going right in my life,
Mm.
as opposed
Yep.
to mulling over and simmering over the things that may not be going so well.
Right.
um, I also, what do you call this? I also have a meditation and a breath work practice.
Mm.
So I find, having certain types of breathing to be very grounding.
Yeah.
So there are ones that really warm me up, like dragon's breath in the morning, and it just
Mm.
gives me that hit of energy.
Yeah.
So I'm okay, I'm up, I'm alert, let's do this, etc. um I really find that to be super helpful. And also, meditating, just
Yeah.
giving time for the breath and just
Yeah.
noticing, like, what is happening to me, what is happening to my body. And looking at myself, through the eyes of kindness and
Mhm.
compassion.
Yeah.
If you're not okay today, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just let's just be with this until it passes. Let's not
Mhm.
try to focus on it too much, and let's
Yeah.
see how we can self serve others today.
Yeah. Yeah.
um so that's kind of, where my mind likes to go. Another one is like getting a lot of vitamin D. So
Mm.
I'm very lucky, I have a lot of like big windows, like where I live.
Yeah.
So I can literally just kind of like sunbathe and get that morning sunlight, like via my window,
Yeah.
if I don't feel like going out. And that really helps elevate my mood as well. um, and for my anxiety naman, I'm very, I love to plan, so I have like a whole lot of
Mhm.
planners. And the reason why I love to collect them is, yes, they're pretty, but it allows me to kind of look at, let's say, my week or my
Mhm.
day,
Mhm.
and I plan it out the night before.
Mhm.
So I have the time to kind of mindfully sit down and go, okay, so what do I need to do?
Right.
So when I wake up the next day, hindi ko, yung feeling na hinahabol mo yung araw, and you're kind of like, did I forget
Mm.
anything? What did I have a meeting, etc.
Yeah.
I know that I have everything written down.
Yeah.
I sorted it out the night before, and I can see it. There is a visual.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that stops me from panicking, and for,
Mm.
or from like catastrophizing or going into worst case scenario, because I know that I can kind
Yeah.
of go back to something, and I can see that, no, you're good,
Right.
like you have your little task list, you have this
Yeah.
already, you planned it out, you're good.
Yeah.
And that really kind of like pacifies me and like brings me down. And yeah, that's planners are great for mental health.
Planners are great for mental health. I have to agree with that. I'm also like a planner person. Eh. But I like what you said about incorporating mindfulness, gratitude, and breathing, because those are the things that
Mm,
we don't have to spend for necessarily, right?
exactly.
Yeah, you can just write down or even just think about, what you are grateful for. It doesn't have to be big, right, Kathy? Because sometimes
Yeah.
people tend to overthink what they're grateful for, but it could be just, having a glass of water. That's already, something
Exactly.
to be grateful for. Yeah.
It can be the simplest things, like, oh, I'm so happy that my pillow was so comfortable last night, and I'm so
Exactly.
happy that my dog chose me today. Like, he came up and slept next to me. When, I mean, it's the
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
things naman
It's the
talaga.
little things. Yeah.
No
Oh,
need for
and
big
it's
wins.
yeah. Oh, of course those matter also, but then on a daily basis, parang there are some, parang small things that we can be, still be grateful for, and it's not
Mm,
really about, it's not ignoring the bad things that are happening.
yeah,
There's another thing, parang that awareness that parang, okay, this is happening. I'm not,
yeah.
ignoring it and shunning it away. Parang, okay, I acknowledge you, I recognize you, but there are still some things to be grateful for about, this day. Yeah, and it's a
Mm-mm.
practice. It's something that I'm still trying to incorporate in my daily habits. But as long as you make those steps, talaga. Sometimes I miss a day or I miss a week, and that's fine. I don't have to
Yeah.
belittle myself because I missed a week or whatever. It's just getting back
Mm-mm.
on the wagon again, doing
Yeah.
it again, and starting it again, because you can always
Mhm.
start every day. Every day is a fresh
Exactly.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just you just tell yourself, okay, so like for the past week, it really was a choice that I
yeah,
didn't want to do it.
yeah,
And that's okay. I'm choosing to
yeah,
do it today.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess yeah, yun nga parang it's a choice no? Nothing is at random, parang yun nga admittedly natamaan ako doon. Parang oh nga no, choice ko naman. Naalala ko naman siyang gawin. Pero pero
Yeah, you
tinamad lang
chose not
ako.
to do it. Yeah.
Tinamad
So,
lang
diba?
ako.
No need
Oo.
to be hard on yourself. May
Right.
awareness ka na eh, na hindi, choice
Yeah.
ko yun.
Yeah. So exactly. So the next time, parang when that hits you again, parang okay, this is like maybe laziness or maybe just resistance to change. Because sometimes
Mm-mm.
it's that, diba? Parang
Yeah.
why we fall off the wagon is because our bodies can come up with so many reasons just to resist
Yeah.
change,
For
right?
sure. And just saying and just being honest with yourself and saying, choice ko yan eh.
Yeah.
That just opens up, just lets you be a lot more honest with yourself as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bakit di ko siya ginawa? Hindi kasi ganito, kasi ganyan. Once you say, hindi, choice ko yan eh. Then you
Yeah.
can say, oh, kasi medyo tinamad ako ngayong araw na to.
Oo.
And that's okay. Bakit? Choice ko eh.
Oo,
I
tama,
chose to
tama
be lazy
naman.
that day. That's it.
It's true, it's true. Right. Yeah, so these are mga tangible and doable things that you can already start.
Mm.
Even after this conversation or after you guys watch this episode of our wellness weekends. If you want to if they want to Kathy, if they want to work with you, how do they or sige, before that pala, parang what are your other siguro um tips or mga things that you want people to learn about mental health? Yeah, before we
Mm.
end.
Sige. A couple would probably be one would be mindful of your space, be mindful of
Mm,
the people that you have around you, because
yeah.
sometimes sila din yung rason eh kung bakit ganito yung
Mm,
mental health natin.
yes,
Di
yes,
ba?
yes.
um so yeah, be mindful. Look at the five people that you're constantly surrounded by and ask yourself, like, and are they adding to my positive mental health, or are they
Yeah,
taking away from it? And
yeah.
just by knowing that, you have awareness. Sometimes you cannot totally get them out of your life, but you can
Mm-hmm,
minimize your interactions with them, and that's
mm-hmm,
enough. Or you can choose to bring in other people into your space that
yeah.
add to your mental health
Agree.
instead, and kind of balance it out that way. Another one is also getting quality sleep.
Yep,
A lot of the times, the reason why our mental health suffers is because we don't sleep enough.
yep.
And me and Ven have talked forever about how, yeah, when we sleep, our organs detox. We need
Yep.
that, and if you don't sleep, your organs kind of aren't working optimally, like as they should, because they didn't get
Mm-hmm,
that time to detox. So
mm-hmm,
you're just you're adding to that, and I guess that also kind of affects your mental health as well.
yeah.
And kind of figure out what coping skills work for you, what
Mm-hmm,
positive coping skills work for you. So like, I don't know, for example, for me, like I'm a huge gamer nerd. So, you know,
Mm.
I'm not working. If I wanna de-stress and just leave my brain somewhere, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna go play a game. Um,
Mm.
and that kind of helps me to relax. For others, it's like binge watching on Netflix or gardening or something like that.
Mhm.
But find a practice that you can kind of turn to whenever you feel stressed, so you can deal with whatever's going on in a more
Mhm.
positive manner instead
Yep.
of, you know, escaping and turning to,
Yep.
like, yeah, smoking, drinking,
Yeah.
substance abuse. I
Yep.
mean, your body is going to pay for that, if not now, later on down the road.
Exactly.
And that's going to affect your mental health as well.
For sure.
um, and I think the last one is maybe look for ways in order to be of service to others.
Mm.
For me, like that was a huge aha moment for me when I was working on my own mental health. I realized
Mm.
that the more that I was able to put myself out there and be of service to other people, the better I felt about myself, because
Mm.
that's what really aligned with me.
Yeah.
And just seeing other people thriving in a way helped my mental health as well. So it
Yeah.
really is kind of paying it forward.
Right, right. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for all of those. Sige, before we end, we just have like a few minutes left now. Again, maybe you can remind our viewers, or people who are watching this, when would be the best when is it the best time to see you, or like book a consult with you, and then where can
Mm,
they find you? Like, just remind them parang what you do as a coach, and then how can they find you?
yeah. So yeah, sure. So, you know, as a coach, I do a couple of things over at Centro Holistico. I can work as a life coach if you're going through any big changes that you feel you need to unpack. I can help you with, you know, the goal setting, keeping you accountable to that, journeying with you. Same goes for the health coaching. Some people just need that person to, you know, to be accountable to, that they can be kind of honest with, and you know, hold space for them with
Yeah.
whatever it is that they're going through. Health isn't just physical; it's
Yeah.
emotional, it's spiritual as well. Um, and as a well-being coach, you know, if you are trying to create work on different aspects of your life, right?
Yeah.
Health, financial, even your playfulness, spirituality,
Mm.
that you feel that you really want to take a look at and work on,
Yeah.
that's something that we can do as well. And yeah, I can be found mostly online. So if you want to get in touch with me, book a session, you can book through your nearest Central Holistico branch, and they will set up the Zoom meetings for you. I do Zoom calls, so you don't have to worry about what you look like. Show up as you are. A lot of people nako-conscious like, you know, it's so
Yeah.
hard to be vulnerable when like there's somebody looking at you. So I'm like, let's
Right.
just do calls. And you can be as vulnerable as you want, you know, show up as you are, etc.
Yeah.
And allow me to hold space for you, allow me to journey with you as you create these goals in order to create the best version of the life that it is that you want to make for yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then we can celebrate with you as well, which is one of my favorite things to do. So
Oh. Yeah, so Kathy has helped me also, I don't know, siguro like 2 years ago also, even as Joe, it was just like two conversations, but she made me realize a lot of things about, how I've been operating. So, yeah, I thought 10 over 10 would recommend Kathy.
aw, thank you.
Yeah. So thank you, Kathy. This was very, a grounding conversation, no? And it's something that's very important for us to know about and talk about as well. Because the more that we talk about it, the more that people will be able to open up to themselves, right? And
Mm,
probably to start, ano rin, parang seeking help if, whatever help it is that they need at this time.
yeah.
Yeah. So I hope you, have a good Sunday, everyone. Take care of your mental health.
Yes.
Practice a gratitude, practice gratitude journaling. Doesn't have to be a lot, maybe one or two. And try to breathe more mindfully. Try to slow down your
Mm,
breathing. It can, I know, definitely help with, your mental state, brain fog,
mm.
etc. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to host you today, Kathy.
Yeah, no,
It was
this was super fun. We should do this more often. You should be on the other side more
Oh my
often.
goodness. I will work on it. I will work on it. I've been like sweating up a storm here.
That's supernatural. Don't worry about it.
All right. So I hope everyone has a good Sunday. Have a great week ahead. You
Mm.
guys know where to reach us. You know where to reach Kathy. And yeah, we'll see you again next week.
Yes. See you next week. Bye.